Bobby's breakdowns, where knowledge grows, entertaining us all as the excitement flows. From films to wrestling, he's the pro.
What is up, everybody? It's your boy Bobby from Bobby's Breakdowns, coming at you with another football video. We are going to be ranking my top 11 football movies ever. Let's see if you guys can see who this is without me showing the back. Some of you hardcore fans will know, others will be like, I don't know who you're talking about. But that's cool. But like I said, we have my top 11 football movies and some honorable mentions to go along with it. So with that being said, let's dive right in. Let's start with the honorable mentions. These are good movies. They just weren't enough to crack my top 11. Coming in, first movie, Radio. Based on a true story, like a lot of these are. Cuba Gooding Jr., Ed Harris. Like I said, a very true story. I love the movie, don't get me wrong. It's well acted, the story is brilliant, but it just wasn't enough to crack my top 11. I love this movie, don't get me wrong. Cuba Gooding Jr. is great. Ed Harris is even better, but there are some slow parts to it, rightfully so because of the story and all that, but I do love this movie. Another honorable mention, this might not make a lot of people's lists, but this came out when I was little and I loved this movie. It's been a while since I've seen it. Little Giants. Every guy around my age knows this movie and loves this movie. I would have to go back and watch it. Maybe it doesn't hold up. Who knows? But is it a fun movie? Yes. Is it good enough to make the top 11? I don't think so. My last three honorable mentions. This one might cause some comments and some ruckus, but it's on the honorable mentions list. Brian's Song. I've seen a lot of lists that this is top 10, maybe even top 5. But we will get into why this didn't make my top 5, because there were some movies that were left off, and another one that shouldn't have been left off. Brian's Song is a classic. Very true story. Very sad story with Gale Sayers, who I have met. Nice guy. But it didn't crack the top 11 for me. We'll get into why. I got pretty mad when I saw that these two movies that are in my top 3 were left off the movie list. My last two, and two movies I really liked, but not well enough to get them to the top 11. The Blind Side. A lot of controversy with this one, folks. You can't blame the actors or actresses. They were told the story, they worked with what they had. Can't blame them, even though people did blame Sandra Bullock. Stupid. Blindside is a great movie, very true story about a man overcoming the odds, beating the streets, and becoming a pro football player. And I believe he won a Super Bowl ring with the Ravens, Michael Orr. But while I love that movie, it is not good enough, or better, in my opinion, than the other 11. My last honorable mention. Haven't seen this movie in a long time, and this might cause some chaos too. Any Given Sunday. Jamie Foxx, Al Pacino. Yes, I know. It's probably on a lot of people's list, and you are entitled to your own opinion, but just missed out on my top 11. So with that being said, here we go with my top 11 football movies ever. Coming in at number 11, and this might shock people that it's this low on the list, The Longest Yard, Adam Sandler edition. I just met William Fichtner about a week and a half ago. Great guy. He went out to drink with some of the wrestlers from this movie, and he said, don't ever go out to drink with wrestlers because you will get messed up. Number 11, I do love this movie. It's an all-star cast, a lot of former pro wrestlers, former pro football players. But like the other ones, there are better films on this list in my humble opinion. I don't know. You guys might love The Longest Yard. I do love The Longest Yard, but just doesn't beat out the other ones. Coming in at number 10 is Draft Day with Kevin Costner. While I do love this movie of a behind-the-scenes look at the GM and what he did to get those trade picks back, there are some slow parts with any Kevin Costner movie, but I just think because it lacks the football and the action, I think that's what hurts it. Don't get me wrong, I like this movie a lot, but that's why it's only good enough for the 10 spot. Coming in at number 9, Gridiron Gang. You know I had to get my boy The Rock in there. Come on, who doesn't love this movie? The only thing I hate about this movie is The Rock has hair. I know, it's a weird take, but he just looks so weird with hair because he's been bald for so long. But Gridiron Gang at number 9. True story. I believe they shut this school down because they couldn't figure out why people were successful. I believe that's what I read. But they were like, we have sent these kids to college. They're former convicts going to college. It was shut down in 2014. I don't know why, but brilliant movie. The Rock played it amazingly. The prisoners were great. Exhibit was great. That's why it's coming in at number 9. I'll watch this movie anytime it's on, and like I said, the only quarrel is The Rock has hair. So, but otherwise, great movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely see it. Coming in at number 8, I don't know why this movie doesn't get the respect it deserves. I've seen it left off a lot of lists. The Express, the Ernie Davis story. Ernie Davis, one of the best running backs ever that didn't pan out in the pros because obviously he got sick. Very true story. How this movie isn't higher on people's lists, I don't know. Phenomenal movie. The dude who played Ernie Davis, can't remember his name off the top of my head, but fantastic. Dennis Quaid, the coach, fantastic. And that run of running backs at Syracuse, go look it up because it's insane. Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, Larry Zonka. There's one more I'm forgetting, but it's insane. I don't know why it doesn't get the respect it deserves. That's why it's coming in number 8 on my list. It might even be higher on some people's lists, and if it is, good on you. Coming in at number 7, another man I just met a week and a half ago. The Water Boy. Water sucks. It really, really sucks. Gatorade. Coach Klein, Henry Winkler, Adam Sandler. Another Adam Sandler great football movie. The Big Show was in it as Captain Insano. It's just an all-time classic. And some would argue, and I will not pick apart your argument if you say that, some would argue this is Adam Sandler's best movie ever. Again, I can't say no to that because it's an all-time classic. He nails people. Mama said knock you out. Who doesn't like The Waterboy? Find me somebody that doesn't like The Waterboy and I'll find you a liar. The Waterboy coming in at number 7. Coming in at number 6, just outside the top 5. Maybe one of the craziest true stories of them all? I don't know. Invincible, starring Mark Wahlberg, Vince Papale, a guy who just tried out for the Eagles and made the team. And, I mean, he didn't last long, sure, but in what world do you see a guy try out for an NFL team, just a random guy off the street, a bartender, and make the team? It's an awesome true story. Mark Wahlberg, you killed it in that movie. It's one of the only movies I've seen in theaters twice. That list is very small. But yes, Invincible. Again, I think it gets the respect it deserves, but not a lot of people talk about it. If you haven't seen it, definitely go see it. It's a brilliant movie. I loved it. But it's coming in at number 6. Coming in at number 5, and we're at the top 5, folks. This got hard. But coming in at number 5, Friday Night Lights. Billy Bob Thornton as Coach Gaines. Jay Hernandez as Brian Chavez. Derek Luke as Boobie Miles. Lucas Black as Mike Winchell. And Garrett Hedlund as Don Billingsley. Based on a true story, they did add some stuff to it to, make it more theatrical. I don't know if Dallas Carter got away with all of that in the semifinals. Yes, that's one of them. Dallas Carter beat them in the semifinals, not the finals. They changed that part. They played at the Astrodome, which I have seen from the outside. Can't go in. But a brilliant movie. It keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole time, and the ending is like you're sitting there like say, go, go, go. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Friday Night Lights at number 5. Coming in at number 4, this might cause some chaos. This isn't even going to cause chaos in my own house. Coming in at number 4 is Rudy. I know. This is my brother's all-time favorite movie. You're welcome, by the way. You'll know what I mean when you see this. I just think I like these other 3 movies better. There is nothing wrong with Rudy. Sean Astin plays it brilliantly. Awesome true story of a kid who walked on. He finally got his shot, and he made the most of it. I love this movie. I will watch it anytime. I just think I like the other 3 better. It's just simply how it is. Rudy, I have no problem with any part of the movie, but you're just not that good enough to crack the top 3, in my opinion. This might cause some chaos, I know, but Rudy gets the 4th spot. Coming in at number 3, a movie that does not get the respect it deserves on these lists. And if you couldn't figure out the jersey, well, here we are. Coming in at number 3, The Replacements. Shane Falco, baby. I love this movie. I just watched it a few months ago. It still holds up. Gene Hackman, Keanu Reeves, a bunch of big names in this movie. It's about this team, these ex-players that become players again because the other players are boycotting the league. They're not getting paid enough. So they're called the replacement players. And they play so well. They get to the playoffs, and I won't spoil anything even though the movie is like 20 years old. Keanu Reeves in this movie is so cool. Gene Hackman is so cool. I love this movie. It's one of my all-time favorite movies for sure. Probably top 20, top 25. And if you haven't seen The Replacements, go see it. It's phenomenal. And there's some trivia to it I won't get into. Maybe if I review it, I will. But coming in at number 3, The Replacements. Coming in at number 2, the movie I said earlier that doesn't get the respect it deserves. I watched this movie about a month ago. It still holds up. It is still so sad. And it's still one of the best football movies ever. And if you have this as your number 1, I will never argue this. We Are Marshall! We Are Marshall. Definitely the saddest true story on this list. The plane crash that killed most of the team, 95% of the team. There's like 3 or 4 guys left. Coaches gone. They had to rebuild everything. And that movie is just so sad and so phenomenal. Matthew McConaughey, they couldn't have found a better guy to play the role. If you haven't seen We Are Marshall, get the tissues ready. It doesn't get the respect it deserves. That's why it's coming in at 2 on my list. I love this movie. It got Anthony Mackie on the map, in my humble opinion. That's just me. But We Are Marshall, very famous true story about how they had to rebuild. And were they good after that? No, they weren't. But that didn't even matter. They won a few games that year. I believe they went 2-10. But who cares, though? We Are Marshall, coming in at number 2. Coming in at number 1, we are at the end game here, folks. Thank you for joining me on this. Obviously, everyone's number 1. Air Bud Golden Retrievers. Phenomenal movie about a dog playing... That's not my number 1. I had to lie to you. My number 1 is Remember the Titans. Come on! It's probably most people's number 1, and you're rightfully so in agreeing with that. The cast list is ginormous. So I'm going to read you it, and work with me here, folks. Denzel Washington as Coach Boone. Will Patton as Bill Yost. We got Ryan Hurst, Donald Faison, Ethan Suplee, who is in a lot of Denzel Washington movies, a young Hayden Panettiere, and Kate Bosworth, and the man who was an absolute liability at CB, cornerback Ryan Gosling, a young Ryan Gosling. It's a true story. 1970 high school, a black high school integrated with a white high school, and they had to become one. It got tough at some points, as it did back then. But they came together as a team and killed it. Number 1 movie for me, man. Loved it. If you haven't seen Remember the Titans, I actually know a guy who didn't see Remember the Titans till a few years ago. Scott. I don't know how. I begged him for years to see it, and he finally saw it. He said, no. Fantastic movie. One of the best overall movies ever, in my opinion, but definitely number 1 on my football list. What are some of your guys' favorite football movies? Did I miss any of them? Comment down below. Do you agree with my list? Do you not agree with my list? I want to hear from you guys. But until next time, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. I don't know what's next, folks, because this is coming out about a month from now. That's fine. We have to record a few videos in the future. Peek behind the curtain because my editor is going away. That's fine. But this is just on time for football season. So by the time this comes out, NFL and college are back, baby. But with that being said, I am Bobby from Bobby's Breakdowns, and we will see you in the next one. Later.
Bobby's Breakdown.